Good evening to all. Welcome to today's special lecture program for undergraduate students, finance and its allied areas, organized by Kolkata Bidhannagar Society for Academic Advancement, West Bengal, India, coordinated by Azure Academic Services. Today's topic of discussion is business management and its basic concepts. Today, our guest faculty is Mr. Arnab Chatterjee, sir. He is former postgraduate student, Department of Commerce, Naba Ballygunge, Mahavidyalaya, Kolkata. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Uh,
Good evening, sir. Please take over the session.
First, I would like to thank Nama Sir, Kolkata Bidhannagar Society, and Azure Academic Services for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge, introduce myself. So, let me start the today's topic. So, my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
So today's topic is business management and its basic concepts. We will be covering around 8 concept areas where we will know about business management and its various topics. So let me start with the concept. Management, it is the art of getting things done through people. Now, this definition have been given by various authors by using their own words. So management, if I divide it, then it will be manage main T. That is manage men tactfully. It means managing men tactfully to get things done. Now, few definitions of management given by popular persons, authors. Harold Kuntz. Management is the art of getting things done through and with people in formally organized groups. Mary Parker Follett. Management is the art of getting things done through people. Now, in these two definitions, there is something in common, that is art of getting things done through people. And to easily remember this thing is Harold Kuntz has given this more or less the same definition like Mary Parker Follett, but with something in addition, and the keyword is through and with people in formally organized. Formally organized groups is a now Henry Fail. To manage is to forecast and to plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. So basically, he has given his functions of management like planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling. Next author, Peter Drucker. Management is a multi-purpose organ that manages the business, manages the managers, and manages workers and the work. Here the keyword is multi-purpose organ to remember the Peter Drucker definition of management. Now let me show the functions of management we will be covering. So basically the elements of the management process: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. These are the functions of management. But there is no single list of functions given. So various authors have given their various list of functions. Henry Fayol has given forecasting, planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. And we will be covering into this session planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. So management, it is the social process of planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling the work and all the resources that are required for achieving the organizational objectives in this dynamic environment. Now, management uses 6 aim, or we can say 6 resources. Those are men, women, money, machine, material, methods, and market. Managers use these 6 resources for achieving the objectives of the organization. So basically, men and women, they use the money to buy the machinery, machines, and purchases raw materials, uses the methods and finally selling in them in the markets. So in this way, you can remember all the 6 M that management uses as its resources for achieving the objectives of the organization. Now, features or characteristics of management. So features or characteristics, its first feature is continuous and never-ending process. Management, it's a continuous process. Managers continuously have to plan, organize its activities, to give the guidelines to the subordinates, oversee the work of the subordinates. He has to continuously control all the activities so as to work is carried on according to the plans. He has to perform these functions and also have to employ the staffs through the process of staffing. He has to perform all these functions continuously. Thus, management, it is a continuous and never-ending process. It never ends. Human activity. It is a human activity because it is performed only by the human beings. The third feature, getting things done through people. Now, managers, they get the work done through the employees, the subordinates, and so the employees, the workers should not be treated like the slaves. They should not be forced or threatened to do the work. So there must be a favorable environment there in the organization so that the employees can work more effective. So managers get the work done through the others. Now, result oriented management. It is result oriented because it gives a lot of importance to the results. It focuses on the results like increase in profit or increase in market share. So it is result oriented. Now, both an art as well as science. Management is an art because, like art, it requires a unique approach. There should be creativity and intuition so as to solve the problems and decisions are made effectively. Management is an art because it is flexible, it is situational, it depends on situation to situation, it changes its policies, decision. So that's why it is an art. Now, it is science because management follows established principles like Henry Fayol's 14 principles. So, management conducts continuous research. It follows some scientific techniques. It's related to facts. So, that's why management is a science because it focuses on the research also. Now, pervasive, performed at all levels. Management is all pervasive, it is universal because everywhere. It can be performed at all the levels of the organization. It is there in all the organizations, whether it is a top level organization or middle level or lower level organization. So that's why management is all pervasive. It can be performed at all the organizations and at all levels of the organization. Now, management follows established principles. As I told, management follows for principles, established principles or rules, such as the Henry Fayol's 14 principles, like unity of command, division of work, unity of direction, discipline, order, scalar chain. So these principles are followed by the management. They are followed in a flexible way, not in a fixed manner. So this because of this reason that it is followed in a flexible way, so it is also an art. and management follows the principles, established principles. That's why it is science. Now, management is situational in nature. Management, it is not fixed, very flexible. It makes its plans, policies, decisions according to the situation. It uses different policies and decisions styles for different situations. So basically, a manager first studies the full present situation. Then he draws conclusion from that situation, and then makes its plans, decisions for that situation that will be more relevant for that situation. That's why management is situational in nature. And because of this feature, like management is situational in nature, it is also an now management is aided but not replaced by the computers. Management, it is supported by the computers. Computers help managers to make accurate decisions, like for recording of the attendance sheet in any organization, or for showing that how many employees are there, showing how much raw material, finished goods are there. For these reasons, computers help management, but it cannot replace management. Management is intangible in nature. It it cannot be seen and touched, but it can be felt. It can be realized by its results. So the success or the failure of the management can be judged by its results. So in this way, it is intangible. Now, management, it is dynamic in nature. Management is very creative and very innovative. So an organization to have the success, to survive in the dynamic environment, it will have to be dynamic. Organization will have to be dynamic. So for this reason, management must bring new product features, new ideas, creative ideas that are available in the market, new product features that are available in the market. Must continuously bring inside the organization new ads or new marketing techniques management should adopt so as to make the organization succeed in the market and compete with its competitors. And it is dynamic in nature. It's not static. Management and ownership can be same or different. So in small organizations, like if you see uh, stationery shops or grocery stores, you will see that manager and the owner both are basically same person. Because in the small organizations, there are like grocery stores, there are hardly one or two persons there always. So manager and owner are basically same there. But in large organizations, manager and owner are always generally different person. So managers, they are highly qualified professionals who are hired from outside, and owners are the shareholders of the company. Owners, they own the company, and managers, they manage the company on behalf of those shareholders. Owners, on behalf of the owners, they manage the company. So ownership and management can be same or can be different. Now we will move to a next topic: levels of management. So now there are three levels of management. First, top level managers or top managers. They are basically the level three managers, the highest level managers. Second, the middle managers, they are the level two managers. And at the end, the bottom, there is a first line or lower level managers. So they are can be told as level one managers. Now, the top managers, They are a relatively small group of managers. They manage the overall organization. They establish the goals, overall strategy, and operating policies of the organization. Uh, they bear major responsibilities. They are responsible for direction and success of the business. So they will also have to represent the organization in front of the external world, like media, government, and their major functions are like performing decision making, planning, controlling. So these things are done by the top level managers. They manage the overall organization. Now, middle level managers. They are primarily really responsible for implementing the policies and plans that are already prepared by the top managers. So, top level managers first prepare the policies, plans, overall strategy, and then those things are implemented by the middle level managers. They get the work done by their subordinates, and they supervise and coordinate the activities of the lower level managers. So they are the level 2 managers. Now, lower level managers. Basically, these are the lowest level of management. They are can also be called as the level 1 managers or the first line managers. Now, they supervise the activities of the operating employees, and they spend a lot of time, a large proportion of their time supervising the subordinates. They are connected to the ground level employees. They manage the functions and of assigning employees tasks, like assigning tasks to the employees. They ensure that the quantity of the production and the quality of the production is decent. So they handle all these activities. They are also known as the first line or the bottom managers. So total there are three level of managers, one top managers, also known as level 3 managers, middle managers or level 2 managers, and first line managers. They are basically lower level managers or level 1 managers. Now, the next topic, management styles. So, a management style, it is a way in which a manager works to accomplish the goals of the organization. So, it widely depends on the company to company that how a manager will work, level of the management, also industry, country. So, it is a way in which the manager works in an organization. It varies from person to person. Now, three types of management styles: autocratic, democratic, and laissez faire. Autocratic management style. In this management style, there exists complete control over the employees under the manager. The manager has the complete control over his employees. The manager, he takes all the decisions, he gives all the instructions, and it's followed here like a top-down approach is followed here, like one-way communication from boss to his employee. So this style may work in crisis situations, but for highly skilled and independent employees, this style is not effective. And this is the most controlling of all the management styles. Employees here, they are not encouraged to ask questions, to share their ideas or thoughts on how to improve the processes, and in some cases they are discouraged to do so. So the management has all the control over the workplace here, and he takes all the decisions. He holds all the power. So this is autocratic management style. Now, democratic management style. Here, the manager encourage the employees to give inputs, to share their inputs during the decision making process. But ultimately, the manager will be responsible for taking the final decision. Ultimate decision making will lie on the manager. Now, and here the communication flows both way. That is top down and bottom up. So employees can share their skills, share their ideas. So this process allows for diverse opinions, and there is informed decision making takes place here. So it's more flexible as compared to the autocratic management style. Now, laissez-faire. Laissez-faire management style. In laissez-faire management style, the manager communicates a message to his employees and be assured that the employees will fulfill all the goals of the department or organization. Staff is trusted to do their work without supervision. So basically, there is a management follows the hands-off approach. So staff will control his own decision making. He will take his own decisions. He will solve his own problems. So it's a hands-off approach management follows here. And the style is preferred for those employees who require less supervision, less attention or direction, who is more experienced in doing the work. And management is gets involved only when when staff requires his assistance. When staff himself requests the assistance, then management gets involved. And staff has the freedom to control their workflow. And so with this, we have done the management styles, all the three management styles: democratic, autocratic, and laissez-faire. Now, next topic, concept of management principles. Now, principles of management, these are basically the guidelines for managerial decision in various situations and problems. So these guidelines can be followed by the manager to solve the problems, to handle a particular situation. They guide the manager in the decision making, but these guidelines are not fixed. They can be modified and can be applied by the manager according based on the situation. So they are flexible and are applied with creativity in dynamic environment. They can be modified by the manager according to its requirements, according to the situation. So these management principles are very flexible. Now, nature of management principles. Pervasive. So principles of management, they are universally applicable. That is, it is applicable to all organizations and applicable at all the levels of the organization. General guidelines and not strict rules. So the principles are general guidelines for managerial behavior and actions in various situations and problems. They are not strict rules, and these principles do not provide straightforward solutions. So basically, these are just guidelines for which can be used for taking the actions, for taking decision by the manager, and manager can modify it according to his situation. So these principles can be applied in a dynamic environment with very creativity. Flexibility. The principles of management are flexible. As I told, they can be modified by the manager according to the specific situation and dependent on situation. The application of principles depends on the situation. No, behavioral. The principles of management are behavioral in the sense that they influence human behavior. Like they influence human behavior by sometimes giving rewards, or sometimes giving punishment. Like suppose the principles of management are basically formed by continuous observation and experimentation. So maybe there is a case like inefficiency of the employees. So the principle formed through the observation or experimentation management uses that principle in that case, and the effect becomes like employees become efficient. So earlier employees used to come late in the office. Then management introduced that those who will come early for 1 year or 2 years, they will be given some extra bonus, or some extra like promotion they may be given if they have a good work. So because of this thing, this principle, employees became more efficient. So in this way, because of this principle, the manager influenced the human behavior. So the principles influence the human behavior. Now, principles of management, Henry Fayol, given by Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol, he is recognized as the father of modern management. He is famous for establishing the foundational 14 principles of management to optimize organizational efficiency. So there are total 14 principles of Henry Fayol. First principle, division of work. Implies they are specialized in different areas, and they have their own skills. So division of work should be as per their specialization. Suppose like an organization has 5 employees. Now the work should not be divided like each employee will do 20% of the work of the organization. They will have do the work as per their specialization. The person who has knowledge in finance, he will be working in the finance department. Person who is a lawyer, he will work in the legal department. So maybe one person will be handling 40% of the work, another department will be handling 20% of the work. So division of work will be based on the specialization, on their specialization, in which area they will be specialized. Based on that, they will be given that work. Now, authority and responsibility. In order to get things done in an organization, both the managers and the employees are given some authority and also the responsibility. So, authority means the someone has the right to give orders, to take decisions, to use the resources of the organization. So, employees are given authority to take day-to-day decisions, to use the resources for the organization's objective accomplishment, and management is given the authority to give orders and to get the work done through the subordinates. Now, with this authority comes the responsibility. As management has the authority, manager has the authority to give orders, so he also has the responsibility to get the work done through that employee. And employees has the authority to take the day-to-day decisions uh, without where there is no requirement for taking the consultation of his manager. He can do the work by themselves. So they are he can draw the resources for the organizational goals accomplishment. So he has the authority, employee has the authority. So employee has the responsibility. Responsibility basically means the obligation, perform the assigned task. So employees has the authority, responsibility to complete that task. He is supposed to carry out and perform that task. So with the authority, the comes the responsibility. So the employees has the authority as well as the responsibility, and manager also has the authority and as well as the responsibility. The manager is also responsible for its completion. So authority and responsibility basically they work together. They go together. They are basically the two sides of the same coin. Now, the third principle, the discipline. Now, discipline, it is all about obedience. Employees must listen to the commands given by his manager or team leader and must be disciplined in getting the work done and done on time. Delaying the work or not completing the work, it means no discipline. So the employees should have a good conduct and respectful interactions with his manager. He must complete the work on time, not delay the work. So this is all about discipline, obedience. Unity of command. Unity of command means an employee should receive orders from only one superior on one boss only. He should not have he should not get orders from two or three bosses. So each employee should be under the command of one boss and he should receive order from one boss only. Unity of direction. So there should be one head and one plan for a group of activities having same objectives. Teams with the same objective should be under the direction of one manager. So every group of activities, each group of activities should have the one head, one boss, and one plan, and they will be working in the same direction. So a group of employees who have the same objectives should be under the basically under one manager and should follow one. So unity of direction here keyword is one boss only, and unity of command one boss only, and unity of direction we will there is keyword one head, one plan, one direction. And unity of command it affects individual employee, but unity of direction it can affect the entire organization. Now, subordination of individual interest to general interest. So, the personal interests, an interest of an individual, they are subordinate to the interests of the organization. So, or organization should or employees should focus on the interests or goals of fulfillment and not on those of individual. And this is applicable for all levels of the entire organization. Now, remuneration. The remuneration should be sufficient to keep the employees motivated. The motivation and the productivity are close to one another. So the remuneration should be sufficient to keep employees motivated and productive. There are two types of remuneration: monetary remuneration like salary, bonus, or any other financial compensation, and non-monetary such as uh, compliment, credits, or more responsibility. So these are monetary remuneration. When the remuneration is sufficient, the employees are motivated and they are also productive. They work with productivity. They are productive. Now, centralization and decentralization. It means centralization means concentrating the decision making authority at the top of the organization. So only the top level managers takes the entire decisions of the organization. And in decentralization, here the decision making authority is shared with the lower levels, like middle level and lower level management and employees. Scalar chain. Scalar chain is also known as chain of command. The hierarchy management principle states that there should be a clear line of authority from top level to bottom. So basically, this is the hierarchy management principle, also known as hierarchy management principle or chain of command. Orders and instructions they flow from higher level to the lower level employees, higher level from top managers to the lower level managers and employees. Requests, if there are any, flows from lower to top level. Now, there is a concept of gangplank, which you can say basically level jumping. It refers to the need for level jumping in any hierarchical organization. So, like there is two departments, finance department and audit department. And if the person E he wants to send any file or message to the person I of audit department, he will have to go through the first contact the person T, then D will contact his senior person C, and at the end person B will contact his head A, and head A will contact F, and so on. So this entire chain will be followed so that the person E will contact the person I and send his message or important any file to the person I. But this may take time, much. This will take much time. So it is possible for person E to use the gangplank and avoid going through the intermediaries. So through this gangplank, he can communicate his message, directly send the message to person I of audit department without going through the intermediates. Now for this, the person E will of course require his um, immediate superior's approval. Now, Gangplank is a direct communication shortcut that allows employees at the same level in different departments, same hierarchical level in different departments to bypass the traditional chain of command. So basically, it's a level jumping in a hierarchical organization. Now, order. Order means the right man or right employee should be in the right job, and the right material should be in the right place. And the work environment must be clean, safe, and tidy. So basically, it means the employees must have the right resources at his place, at the right place. They can work effectively. The work environment, if it is safe, clean, tidy, then he can work more effectively. So right man in the right job and the right material at its right place. This is order. Now equity. Equity, it means employees must be treated kindly and equally. Employees must be in their right place to do the right things. Everyone should be treated equally, kindly, irrespective of their experience or qualification. So everyone should be treated equally in the organization. Now, stability of personnel. According to this principle, management should remove the feeling of job insecurity from the minds of personnel. Management should strive to minimize the employee turnover. Minimize employee turnover means that employees are leaving the company. So this thing should be minimized. Minimize the employees leaving the company. So manager will do the thing. So the manager strives to minimize the employee turnover and to keep them engaged in the organization, to keep them in the organization. Initiative. Employees should be allowed to express new ideas, new thoughts, new skills. Employee initiatives are a source of strength for the organization. So when an employee is allowed to express his ideas, then it encourages the interests and involvement, and this will ultimately create advantage for the organization. So that's why employee initiatives are a source of strength for the organization. Esprit de corps. Now, it means teamwork, team spirit. The keywords are teamwork, team spirit, unity, or harmony among the employees. So, this principle stands for involvement and unity of the employees. Management or the managers are responsible for developing the moral in the workplace, and they should develop the culture, create atmosphere of mutual understanding and trust. So basically, it's all about team spirit, teamwork, team strength. Now, the functions of management. So here we will be doing all the five functions of management: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and control. Now, planning. According to Kuntz and O'Donnell, planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do, and who is to do it. So planning it bridges the gap between like where we are right now and where we want to go. So it is an ongoing and recurring function of management. It's a continuous process. It is all pervasive. It is everywhere. It is present at all levels of the organization. So plan it is basically a future course of action. Planning we determine through planning we determine the courses of action we will do to achieve the goals of the organization, and it is also helpful for the basically proper utilization of resources. It is helpful. It helps in avoiding confusion or any uncertainty. Now the steps of the planning. First we determine the objectives of the enterprise. Determination of objectives of the enterprise. Secondly, we develop the planning premises. So planning premises are basically the assumptions based on which the plans are made. So assumptions like we make like the demand for a particular product will rise in future. Government policy related we assume, or interest rates, bank FD interest rates will increase. So basically through these we assume these things. So we develop the assumptions or the planning premises based on which the plans that we make. Now identifying alternative courses of action, we identify all the possible courses of action, all the possible plans we identify in this step. Then we evaluate all the plans that we have made. In the step 4, evaluation of alternatives. In step 5, we select the best possible alternative. We select the best possible alternative, best possible plan or the course of action from those all the alternatives. And in sixth step, we implement the plan. And at last, we follow up. Follow up action. So follow up means we check whether the what is going according to the plan, and we see if any changes are required in the plan. Basically, we review the plan and we take the corrective action. Like if the plan is not working, the performance expected performance is not coming because of the existing plan. So basically, we will change that. So this is all about follow up and planning. So follow-up action is it's the last step of the planning. Now organizing. Organizing, it means organize a business is to provide it with everything useful for its functioning, like raw materials, tools, capital, and personnel. So it involves determining and providing all the human and non-human resources may be required to the organizational structure to work inside the organization for achieving the objectives of the organization. So here we provide all the resources required inside in the organization. So the steps here are the identification of activities. We identify all the activities that are there that are need to be done in the organization. Step two, classification of grouping of activities. So one type of activities we classify under one group, another type of activities we classify under another group. So basically we classify the activities based on their type. Now once this classification is done, we assign the duties to the employees and to their managers so that they know what they need to be done to uh, or achieve the organizational goals. Now delegation of authority and creation of responsibility, we delegate the authority to the managers that they can give order. Given managers are given the responsibility so that they become responsible, they are also responsible for the results, and employees are given that authority to take basic day-to-day decisions and use the resources for the organization purpose, and also they are have the obligation to perform their task on time. So here we delegate the authority and also create the response. Now last step, coordinating authority and responsibility. Here we need to balance the authority and responsibility. So the authority must match with the responsibility. Here. With this, we completed the organizing, and now the third function, staffing. So the main purpose of staffing is to employ to put right man on right job. So managerial function of staffing involves manning the organization structure through proper and effective selection, appraisal, and development of personnel to fill the roles designed in the structure. So these are the steps staffing involves. I hope you can see the steps. Staffing involves manpower planning. Manpower planning is basically estimating the manpower, like how many people are required inside the organization. So we estimate that. Next step is recruitment, selection, and placement. So recruitment, it is a positive process which aims at attracting a number of candidates to apply for a job. In recruitment process, the company attracts a number of candidates so that they apply for that job. And in selection, the candidates who are recruited from them, a few candidates are selected through various employment tests, uh, technical rounds of interview, and HR rounds. Through those interview rounds and employment tests, they are selected from among the recruited ones. And selection is a negative process. Recruitment is a positive process because many candidates will be invited to apply for that. Selection is a negative process because only the appropriate ones are selected from the recruited people. Like around 10 people has applied on for a job. Now from among them only 4 people are selected. Now those 4 people, they are placed in their job. So now comes the placement. Placement, basically it is assigning the job or a specific job to the candidates who got selected. One candidate may be posted in the audit department, uh, another candidate in a tax, someone in a marketing department, someone in a law department. So placing them in their respective departments based on their skills, qualification, or specialization. Now, the third step, the training is given to the employees who are selected and placed. Fourth, after training and development, they are given their remuneration for the month they have worked. And then fifth step, performance appraisal. So here, after the remuneration, after a few months, companies evaluate the performance of the employee. And their evaluation, the bonus are given to the employees. It may be given to the employees. And then the last step is promotion and transfer. So the employees can be promoted or they can be also transferred. So these are all the steps under the planning, 6 steps. So the main purpose of staffing. So these are the steps under staffing, and this the main purpose of staffing is right man on the right job. Basically, manning the organization structure and keeping it. Now, directing. So it is the fourth function of management. Directing as a function of management, it means instructing, guiding, supervising, motivating, and leading the subordinates to contribute to the best of their capabilities for the achievement of organization. All activities. Planning, stuffing, these are mere functions for doing the work. They are also compulsory. But the work actually starts when the manager performs the function of directing. So the manager by directing, by guiding, by saying the work in, which literally means moving into action. Manager puts the work into action, and that's why it is much more important in an organization. Now, there are four elements of directing or four components of directing. First, supervision. So, supervision means that the manager oversees the work of the subordinates, that whether the subordinates are doing their work or not, whether they are doing in the right direction or not. Basically, watching and directing the work and the workers. Motivation. So, manager motivates, inspires, or encourages the subordinates so that they work with zeal. So motivation means inspiring, stimulating subordinates with zeal so that they can work effectively, efficient. So there can be positive, negative, monetary and non-monetary incentives which may be used for the motivation purposes. Now the third component is leadership. So manager guides and influences the subordinates so that they work in the right direction. Now, communication, one of the most important skill which is required in the any organization, in everywhere it is required. It is basically passing the information, communicating or sharing the opinion to another person. It acts as a bridge of understanding. So it is another one of the most important element in directing. Now, features of directing. So manager initiates the action of the employees. Through directing, it is performance oriented. Directing, it is a continuous process because managers continuously have to supervise, oversee the work of the subordinates, motivate the subordinates, uh, guide them. So that's why it is a continuous process. Directing takes place at every level of the management. So directing, it is pervasive, it is present everywhere at all levels of the management and also present at all organizations. It is universal. Now, controlling. One of the most important function of management. Controlling, it is the activity to see whether the work is carried out according to the plan, according to the schedule laid down or not, and taking corrective actions if required. So basically, the features of controlling are more or less similar to the past uh, features of other functions or features of the management. Controlling, it is the pervasive function uh, because it is managers at all levels of the management, top level, middle level, and lower level have to perform this controlling function to keep control over the activities in their areas. It is a continuous activity and also it is a fundamental management function. It is the most important of all the functions performed by the management. Through this function, the management comes to know whether the activities are being performed according to the plans or not. That's why it is one of the most important function of management. Now, steps inside the planning is sorry steps inside the controlling process. First step is we establish the performance standards. Few standards we set, and then we measure the actual performance. Second step is measurement of actual performance. Then we compare that actual performance that has come with the standards already set. Fourth step is we identify the identification of variation, and we analyze the reasons because of which the variation between the actual and standard performance has occurred. So, in the first, we establish the standards. Second, we measure the actual performance. Third, we compare the actual performance with the standards. Fourth, we identify the variation and analyze its causes, why the variation between actual and standard performance has occurred. We analyze the reasons of the variation, and then we take corrective action to remove the variation. So these are the five steps of the control. Now there is one more function which I have not given, coordinating, because it's not used in all books. So coordinating, it is basically connecting different departments to achieve cooperation. It is the task of the manager to connect the different sections, different departments to achieve cooperation. So if all the departments, all different departments are synchronized, connected, and they work together for the achievement of organizational goals, so there will be unity of action, and there will be it will prevent the duplication of work if any. There will be because of no duplication of work, the utilization of resources will be proper, and it will ultimately maximize the efficiency. So manager coordinates, connects the tasks, various departments, so that they can work with unity. This is coordinating. I have not given in the notes because main functions are planning to control. That's why I have not given. And there can be other functions. budgeting. Again, these are like uh, the employees should report to his manager. Without reporting, there is no evidence. So a clear report keeps the communication open throughout the entire organization. And budgeting, the manager is responsible for the budget, for the expenditure and control of the department's budget. So this is budgeting. So there can be many more functions, but the most common and the most important functions for UG level students are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and control. Before we move to the span of control, let us give a brief of the functions of the management. Planning. Through planning, we define the goal, establish the strategy. It bridges the gap between from where we are and where we want to be. Organizing. It determines what task has to be done, who will do them. Basically, coordinating all the resources, the connecting all the resources or bringing all the resources together, human and non-human, so that they can work for the achievement of the organizational goals. Staffing, it involves a recruitment, selection of people, giving them training, uh, giving them remuneration, and ultimately there will be performance evaluation, performance appraisal, and then there will be promotion and transfer. Directing, it keeps it sets in motion the action of the people. It Through directing, the manager motivates, supervises the his employees. So directing can also be considered as the life spark of the enterprise. You can write in notes, life spark of the enterprise. And ultimately controlling. Controlling is checking whether work is going on according to the plan, and if required, we will take corrective action. So the next topic, or the last topic of today's session, is control. Span of control, it is also known as span of supervision, also known as span of management. So it is a span of supervision which shows the number of subordinates which can be effectively handled and controlled by a single manager. In short, span of control is basically the number of people working under one boss. So there are two types of span of control. One is wider span of control, and another is narrow span of control. So wider span of control means a single manager oversees a large number of subordinates. So there is more number of employees working under one manager. This is wider or wide span of control. More number of employees working under one manager. Like you can see the diagram, wider span of control, manager under one manager, there is 5 employees. Now, as there is more number of employees under one manager in wider span of control, so there will be only fewer managers needed in the organization. So fewer levels of the management will be there, because fewer managers, so few levels of management. And fewer levels of management means the scalar chain, the chain of command we have read in the principles of management, that will be short or low chain of command. And ultimately, if you see, it will give rise to a flat organizational structure. Flat organizational structure. Now, narrow span of control. It means a single manager oversees few subordinates. So less number of employees are there under one manager. So basically, when less number of employees are there under one manager, so many managers will be needed. So many managers means more levels of management will be there. Many levels of management will be there. So the chain of command, the management levels are many. So the like there is a manager, then there are senior managers, then there are sorry manager, then there are assistant managers, then there are senior associates, then there are associates. So the management levels will be many. So this will result in high or long chain of command. Like you can see the chain of command here in the narrow span of control in this diagram. It's a long chain of command. So it results in a tall organizational structure. So in wider span of control, it is more applicable in the small organization, because in small organization there are only few people working, 5 or 10, so they can be under one manager. And in narrow span of control, it is applicable for mainly large organization, and one manager will have 2 or 3 employees under him. So more complex or specialized tasks are handled in the large organizations generally. So that's why narrow span of control will be more effective. So in brief, wider span of control means more number of employees under one manager. Because of more number of employees, fewer managers will be there. So few managers, so fewer levels of management. Ultimately, levels of management, because it's few, so it will result in short chain of command. It's here the chain of command is very short, and it will be a flat organizational structure. And narrow span, it means few employees working under one manager, so many managers will be needed. So it will there will be more management levels, and more management levels here also, like manager, assistant manager, senior associates. So more management levels will be there. So a long chain of command is long, and this will result in a tall organizational structure. Now, factors affecting span of competence of manager. So a highly skilled manager, he can handle a wider span. Highly skilled, highly experienced manager, he can easily handle a more number of employees. So a wider span will be effective for him. But a manager who is less experienced may need subordinates for effective control. So narrow span of control for a less experienced manager. Competence of subordinates. If they are trained and experienced employees, so they will need generally less supervision. So they can be under a manager who has more number of employees. So for them, wider span will be okay. So they can work under with many employees under one manager, wider span. And if the subordinates, they are require constant support, constant guidance, maybe because they are fresher, they are intern. So for them, they will require constant support, constant guidance. So narrow span will be okay for them, where a manager will have 2 or 3 employees. Now, nature of work. If the tasks that are performed in the organization are routine, repetitive, the employees are performing routine and repetitive. So basically, one manager may have many employees under him. So wider span will be okay for them, because the tasks are routine and repetitive. They will not require to employees will not require to consult their manager for day-to-day operations. Not much required. And but in complex and specialized tasks, like in large organizations, the complex and specialized tasks are part. So there, the narrow span will be effective, because the employees will have a need for closer supervision. There will be need for closer supervision, so that the tasks are handled in a good manner. Specialized tasks are performed in a decent manner. So for this, narrow span will be more effective. So generally, routine and repetitive tasks generally takes place in a small organization, generally, and thus its wider span will be effective. And in large organizations, complex and specialized tasks, so narrow span is followed. Now, level of management. Top level managers, they deal with policy decisions. They prepare the policies. They prepare the strategies of the organization. So basically, they are the level 3 managers, highest level managers. So they will be handling only few people. 2 or 3 people should be under them. So they need a narrow span. But the lower level managers, they supervise operational work. They handle all the employees who are at operational level. So they can manage more subordinates. So for lower level managers, for them, a wider span will be more effective. And there can be more factors of span of control, but here I have mentioned 4 factors. It's a very interesting topic, span of control. You can go through the notes that I have discussed. And with this, I have done, I think, all the 8 topics.
Thank you so much, sir. After this detailed explanation on the basic business concepts, I don't think there is any doubt about the basic business concepts among the undergraduate students. Thanks a lot, sir, for giving us your valuable time. Thanks
And
a lot.
thank you, Lama sir, Kolkata Bidhannagar Society, and also to Azure Academic Services for giving me this opportunity. It was my actually first lecture session, so
Yes.
the opportunity for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We wish we will get your more lectures in the upcoming series. Thank you so much, sir. So with this, we are concluding today's session.
Thank you.